Exercise and diet don't work. So if we're looking at doing obesity programming in school and creating healthy school communities, and we just focus on banning pop or physical literacy, we're not going to make any change. We're going to be in the same spot we were 20 years ago, that the programs that we're developing are actually not having any effect on kids. So if you take a look at systematic reviews, and those are a compilation of randomized controlled trials or experiments where people, scientists usually, have gone out there, secured a lot of money, developed the best possible program. One of them was published in New England Journal a few years ago where they spent $25 million over 5 years to do a kitchen sink type intervention. Just throw everything at the school to see what they could do in terms of shifting rates of obesity, and nothing works. And I could say the same thing for community-based programs. I can say the same thing for clinical-based programs. The long-term effects of the programs that we've developed so far have not resonated with the kids that we're trying to work with. And why is that? And I can go through some physiological reasons why, but I think for me personally, working in Manitoba, working in a pediatric endocrinology clinic for a few years as a volunteer kinesiologist, this was by far the biggest issue. The less affluent the community, the more likely that community is to be obese, the more likely that community is to have diabetes. And so some people are shaking their head, yeah, of course. But think about it. We think exercise and diet. And so if you're in a low-income community, are you more likely to walk? Are you less likely to have the kind of foods that you need? More importantly, what kind of stress are you living with if you're living in a low-income community, if you're living in a low-income house, if you're a child who's living in a low-income household that's an overcrowded household? And think about the priorities that you would have if you're living in a poor community, a poor household, and whether or not those align with the interventions that we're delivering in our schools. The other big issue that I think gets neglected, especially when we talk about obesity and diabetes, is that early childhood adversity is exceedingly common in the youth that we're working with, especially among teenagers. When we take a look at the youth who come to our pediatric endocrinology clinic for type 2 diabetes, 60% of them live in poverty. So it's not a choice. They're not choosing to eat certain foods that have led to diabetes. They're living under extreme stress secondary to poverty. 50% have been admitted to psych at least once before they were diagnosed with diabetes. 30% haven't completed grade 9. And 65% have experienced at least one major childhood event. And the one thing we haven't focused on is food security. And that is a major problem, especially with youth coming in from the north. So if a child comes to that with that kind of cluster of risk factors, and we say, here's a healthy diet plate for you to take home to your parents to fill it with carbohydrate, meat, and fruits and vegetables, do you think that's relevant to them? Do you think removing pop from schools is relevant to them? And so we need to put these issues in the context of the programs that we're developing and create resilience-based programs that will resonate with these youth. There are a lot of different models of resilience. The one that has resonated with our group is the Circle of Courage, developed by Dr. Martin Brokenleg, where the 4 elements are belonging, mastery, independence, and generosity. And starting with belonging and moving around the circle sort of from east to north, developing each element of that and fostering each element of that in every program that we do is something that's key. Give kids independence, give them the choice in the programs that they're doing, and believe in them that they can be generous and that they can give back in their communities. Target the non-engaged. We love the Lululemon wearing, hockey jacket wearing athletes in our school that are involved in everything, right? They're just like you were when you were in school. Forget them, they're good, right? They have a team, they're engaged, they're part of it. Go to the kid that you're afraid to talk to and believe in that child and bring them into your program. Consider holistic models of health, not just the physical side. So within that circle of courage, there are 4 elements: physical, emotional, spiritual, and mental. And ensure that when you're developing programs, they're not just targeting the physical aspects of health. And then finally, and this is my own bias, but it's also an Indigenous approach, explore nature-based models. Get kids outdoors, get kids into the bush, into nature as much as you can.